Have you ever spent an entire day at your desk frantically busy, answering emails, attending Zoom calls, replying to Slack messages within seconds, only to walk out at 5 p.m. with a heavy heart and a terrifying realization, I didn't actually accomplish anything today? It's a haunting paradox, isn't it? We have never been more active. We have never been more connected. We have never had faster access to information. And yet, for so many of us, our ability to produce work that truly matters, work that changes the world, or at least changes our career trajectory, is withering away. We are drowning in the shallows, mistaking motion for progress and busyness for productivity. Welcome. Pull up a chair, turn off your notifications. Seriously, turn them off just for now. And let's talk about the crisis of our attention. We are about to dive into the world of Cal Newport's deep work. This isn't just a book about time management. It is a manifesto for the cognitive elite. It is a survival guide for a world that is actively conspiring to steal your focus. Over the next 4 parts of this journey, we are going to dismantle the way you work and rebuild it from the ground up. But before we get to the how, we must understand the why. We must understand the war being waged inside your brain. The great deception of connectivity. Let's set the scene. Imagine the modern office, open plan, transparent glass, a hum of low chatter. Or perhaps imagine your home office where the browser has 20 tabs open, email, news, social media, a spreadsheet, a chat window. In this environment, we have convinced ourselves that being responsive is the ultimate virtue. If you reply to an email in 2 minutes, you are a good employee. If you are always green on Slack, you are a dedicated team member. Cal Newport argues that this cultural obsession is a lie. This is what he calls shallow work. Shallow work is non-cognitively demanding, logistical-style tasks, often performed while distracted. These efforts tend not to create much new value in the world and are easy to replicate. Anyone can answer an email. Anyone can sit in a meeting and nod. The world is filled with people doing shallow work. But here is the kicker, the uncomfortable truth that Newport lays bare right at the start. The economy does not reward shallow work. It might keep you employed for now, but it won't make you indispensable, and it certainly won't make you rich or fulfilled. The antidote is deep work. Deep work is professional activity performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that pushes your cognitive capabilities to their limit. These efforts create new value, improve your skill, and are hard to replicate. Think of J.K. Rowling writing the final Harry Potter book. She didn't do it while tweeting. She checked into a hotel suite in Edinburgh and completely disconnected from the world to let her mind wrestle with the complex narrative arch. Think of Bill Gates in the 1970s, working for 8 weeks straight with such intensity that he would collapse asleep at his keyboard, wake up an hour later, and resume typing exactly where he left off. That is deep work. And in our current economy, it is becoming a lost art. The deep work hypothesis. Newport presents a fascinating economic theory that forms the bedrock of this book. He calls it the deep work hypothesis. It states 2 things simultaneously. Deep work is becoming increasingly rare. Deep work is becoming increasingly valuable. Do you see the opportunity here? It's basic supply and demand. As the rest of the world fragments their attention span into 15-second TikTok clips and 140-character bursts, the ability to sit still and focus on a hard problem for 4 hours is becoming a superpower. If you can cultivate this skill while everyone else loses it, you become the rarest commodity in the workforce. Let's break down why this is valuable. Newport argues we are currently in a great restructuring of the economy. In this new era, 3 groups of people will belong to the particular class of workers who will thrive. Everyone else will struggle. Group 1, the high-skilled workers. These are the people who can work well and creatively with intelligent machines. As AI and automation take over routine tasks, the ability to use complex tools like coding complex algorithms, analyzing massive data sets, or mastering intricate design software becomes paramount. You cannot master these difficult tools with fractured attention. You cannot learn to code in Python or analyze medical data if you are checking Instagram every 6 minutes. Group 2, the superstars. We are moving toward a winner-take-all market. In the past, if you were the best programmer in your town, you had a job. Now, with remote work, a company in San Francisco can hire the best programmer in Vietnam or Poland. If you are mediocre, you are in trouble. To become a superstar, the best in your field, you must master your craft. Mastery requires deep, unbroken practice. Think of Bill Gates in the 1970s, working for 8 weeks straight with such intensity that he would collapse asleep at his keyboard, wake up an hour later, and resume typing exactly where he left off. That is deep work. And in our current economy, it is becoming a lost art. The deep work hypothesis. Newport presents a fascinating economic theory that forms the bedrock of this book. He calls it the deep work hypothesis. It states two things simultaneously. Deep work is becoming increasingly rare. Deep work is becoming increasingly valuable. Do you see the opportunity here? It's basic supply and demand. As the rest of the world fragments their attention span into 15-second TikTok clips and 140-character bursts, the ability to sit still and focus on a hard problem for 4 hours is becoming a superpower. If you can cultivate this skill while everyone else loses it, you become the rarest commodity in the workforce. Let's break down why this is valuable. Newport argues we are currently in a great restructuring of the economy. In this new era, 3 groups of people will belong to the particular class of workers who will thrive. Everyone else will struggle. Group 1, the high-skilled workers. These are the people who can work well and creatively with intelligent machines. As AI and automation take over routine tasks, the ability to use complex tools like coding complex algorithms, analyzing massive data sets, or mastering intricate design software becomes paramount. You cannot master these difficult tools with fractured attention. You cannot learn to code in Python or analyze medical data if you are checking Instagram every 6 minutes. Group 2, the superstars. We are moving toward a winner-take-all market. In the past, if you were the best programmer in your town, you had a job. Now, with remote work, a company in San Francisco can hire the best programmer in Vietnam or Poland. If you are mediocre, you are in trouble. To become a superstar, the best in your field, you must master your craft. Mastery requires deep, unbroken practice. Group 3, the owners. These are the people with capital to invest. We can't all be in this group, so we must focus on the first 2. The conclusion is stark. To join the high-skilled or the superstars, you need 2 core abilities. The ability to master hard things quickly. The ability to produce at an elite level in terms of both quality and speed. Neither of these is possible without deep work. The neuroscience of the zone. Let's move away from economics for a moment and look under the hood of your own skull. Why is distraction so damaging? Why can't we just multitask? Newport introduces us to the biology of learning. When you are trying to learn a complex skill, say playing a difficult piece on the piano or solving a complex mathematical proof, you are firing specific neural circuits in your brain. To get better, you need those circuits to fire faster and more efficiently. The brain achieves this by wrapping those neurons in a fatty substance called myelin. Think of myelin like the plastic insulation around a copper wire. If the wire is bare, energy leaks out. If it is well insulated, the signal travels at lightning speed. Here is the crucial part. Myelin is only produced during periods of intense, focused repetition. If you are writing a report and every 5 minutes you switch to check your phone, your brain never gets the signal to myelinate those circuits. You are firing the writing circuit, then the social media circuit, then the worrying about lunch circuit. It's chaotic. You are essentially teaching your brain to be distracted. Newport quotes the work of Sophie Leroy, a business professor, who coined the term attention residue. This concept is terrifying. Leroy found that when you switch from task A to task B, your attention doesn't instantly follow. A residue of your attention remains stuck thinking about the original task. So picture this. You are working on a strategic proposal, task A. You hear a ping. You check an email from your boss, task B. It's not even urgent, just a quick question. You reply and go back to the proposal. You think you are back on task A, but you're not. A chunk of your processing power is still processing the email. Did I sound polite enough? What does she mean by that? Your IQ effectively drops. If you are constantly checking messages, you are operating in a state of permanent cognitive handicap. You are trying to run a marathon with a backpack full of rocks. Deep work is the art of taking off the backpack. The cult of the internet and the argument for depth. You might be thinking, okay, I get it. Focus is good, but my boss expects me to answer email instantly. My clients expect me to be available. Newport acknowledges this. He identifies a phenomenon called busyness as a proxy for productivity. In the absence of clear indicators of what it means to be productive and valuable in a job, many knowledge workers turn back toward an industrial indicator of productivity, doing lots of stuff in a visible manner. We send emails at 10 p.m. to show we are working. We attend meetings to show we are involved. We value connectivity over output. But let's look at the philosophical side. Is a life of depth just about making more money? No, it's about the quality of your existence. Newport draws on the work of Winifred Gallagher, a science writer who discovered a profound truth after a cancer diagnosis. She realized that your world is the outcome of what you pay attention to. If you spend your day focusing on petty emails, angry tweets, and negative news, your reality becomes petty, angry, and negative. The neurological construction of your life is built on stress and triviality. However, if you spend your day in deep focus, wrestling with a hard, meaningful problem, your reality becomes one of structure, purpose, and flow. The psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi calls this flow, a state where a person's body or mind is stretched to its limits in a voluntary effort to accomplish something difficult and worthwhile. Ironically, human beings are happiest at work, not when they are relaxing. We are happiest when we are deeply absorbed. The irony of our time is that we spend our days fighting to get to leisure time, scrolling on the couch, but that leisure time leaves us feeling empty. Meanwhile, the hard work we are avoiding is actually the source of the satisfaction we crave. The resistance. Now we must confront the enemy. Why is this so hard? If deep work makes us rich, smart, and happy, why aren't we all doing it? Because deep work is uncomfortable. It requires effort. It requires you to confront the limits of your own ability. When you sit down to write that book or code that app and you hit a wall, your brain screams in pain. It craves a dopamine hit. It begs you to open a new tab. It wants the easy reward of a like or a generic email. Moving from shallow to deep is like going from eating candy to eating vegetables. At first, your palate rebels. The candy is so sweet, so easy. But eventually, the candy makes you sick and you realize the vegetables give you fuel. In the first part of this book, Newport has effectively terrified us and inspired us. He has shown us that our current way of working, the constant frantic switching, is breaking our brains and limiting our careers. He has laid the foundation that deep work is not a luxury. It is a necessity for anyone who wants to survive the 21st century with their career and their sanity intact. We have established the problem, distraction, the solution, deep work, and the stakes, economic irrelevance versus mastery. But knowing what to do is easy. Knowing how to do it in a world designed to stop you, that is where the battle truly begins. How do you actually integrate this into a life filled with meetings, kids, and obligations? Do you need to move to a cabin in the woods? Spoiler, no. Do you need to quit social media forever? Maybe. In the next part, we are going to leave the philosophy behind and open the toolbox. We will discuss the 4 philosophies of deep work scheduling. We will learn how to ritualize your focus so you don't have to rely on willpower. We will discover how to execute like a machine. The theory is over. The practice is about to begin. Part 2. The Blueprints of Depth. How to build a fortress for your mind. Welcome back. In Part 1, we diagnosed the sickness. We agreed that the modern world is an attention-shredding machine and that your ability to focus is the single most valuable asset you possess. But recognizing the problem is the easy part. The hard part is waking up on a Tuesday morning with a buzzing phone, a crying child, and an inbox full of urgent flags, and actually doing the deep work. You might be thinking, I just need more willpower. I just need to try harder. Stop right there. That is the trap. Cal Newport creates a crucial distinction early in the practical section of the book. Willpower is a muscle that fatigues. It is a finite resource. Every time you resist the urge to check Instagram, you burn a little bit of willpower fuel. Every time you force yourself to ignore a conversation in the hallway, you burn a little more. By 2 p.m., your tank is empty. That is why you find yourself mindlessly scrolling through news feeds in the afternoon, not because you are lazy, but because you are cognitively exhausted. The strategy of deep work is not about having an iron will. It is about removing the need for willpower entirely. It is about building routines and rituals so rock solid that entering a state of focus becomes automatic. So, how do we structure our lives to protect this fragile resource? Newport presents 4 distinct philosophies. You must choose the one that fits your life. The 4 philosophies of deep work scheduling. One size does not fit all. A computer scientist has a different life than a freelance writer who lives differently from a corporate manager. Newport identifies 4 archetypes of deep workers. Which one are you? 1. The monastic philosophy, the hermit. This is the most extreme approach. The monastic worker attempts to maximize deep work by minimizing or eliminating all shallow obligations. Think of Donald Knuth, the legendary computer scientist. He doesn't have an email address. If you want to contact him, you have to send a letter via postal mail to his secretary, who batches them and shows them to him maybe once every few months. He has famously said, "I have been a happy man ever since January 1, 1990, when I no longer had an email address. I used email since about 1975, and it seems to me that 15 years of email is plenty for one lifetime." Or think of the science fiction writer Neil Stephenson, who writes that he has 2 options. He can either be a good email correspondent or a good novelist. He cannot be both. He chooses the novel. Is this for you? Probably not, unless you are already world famous or independently wealthy. If you stop answering your boss's emails today, you won't become a genius, you'll become unemployed. But we can admire the purity of this approach. 2. The bimodal philosophy, the Jungian approach. This philosophy asks you to divide your time into 2 clearly defined modes, deep and shallow. The patron saint here is Carl Jung, the founder of analytical psychology. In Zurich, Jung lived a busy life. He ran a clinic, he taught at the university, he sat in coffee shops debating with intellectuals. He was surrounded by shallow busyness. But when he needed to do his real work, the thinking that would change psychology forever, he retreated to a rustic stone tower he built in the village of Bollingen. At the tower, no electricity, no guests, no distractions, just silence and thought. He would lock himself away for weeks, then return to Zurich to deal with his patients. You don't need a stone tower to do this.
Maybe you take a deep week once a quarter where you go off-grid to finish a project. Or more realistically, you adopt a deep weekend. You work normally Monday through Thursday, but Friday is your bunker day. No meetings, no emails, just deep production. Is this for you? This works well for academics, teachers with summers off, or consultants who can batch their client work. It requires the ability to disappear for long stretches. 3. The rhythmic philosophy, the chain method. This is the most practical philosophy for the vast majority of us. The goal here is to create a rhythm that removes the friction of starting. Newport points to the comedian Jerry Seinfeld. When a young comic asked Seinfeld how to get better, Seinfeld said, "Write a joke every day." He had a big calendar on his wall, and every day he wrote, he put a big red X on that date. After a few days, you'll have a chain, Seinfeld said. Just keep at it and the chain will grow longer every day. You'll like seeing that chain, especially when you get a few weeks under your belt. Your only job next is don't break the chain. The rhythmic philosophy argues that you should schedule a fixed time every single day for deep work. For example, every morning from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., I write. Or, every day from 9 to 11 a.m., my door is locked. By doing it at the same time every day, you remove the decision-making process. You don't ask, "Should I work now?" The clock decides for you. Is this for you? Yes. If you have a 9-to-5 job, this is likely your best bet. It relies on consistency over intensity. 4. The journalistic philosophy, the commando. This is the most advanced and difficult method. It involves switching into deep mode at a moment's notice whenever free time appears. The namesake is Walter Isaacson, the journalist who wrote the biographies of Steve Jobs and Albert Einstein. Isaacson was known for his ability to write continuously despite a chaotic schedule. He might have 20 minutes between meetings. Boom, he opens his laptop and is instantly writing deep prose. 30 minutes before dinner? Boom, deep work. Is this for you? Be careful. This requires a brain that can switch contexts rapidly without suffering from attention residue, which we discussed in Part 1. For beginners, this usually fails, because by the time you focus, your free window is over. Only attempt this if you are a master of focus.
The art of the ritual. Once you have picked your philosophy, you need a ritual. You cannot just sit at your messy desk amidst half-eaten sandwiches and unpaid bills and expect to have a breakthrough. Your environment speaks to you. If your environment says chaos, your mind will be chaotic. Newport suggests you must systematize your deep work sessions to minimize friction. You need to decide 3 things before you start. Where you will work and for how long. E.g., I will work in the conference room B with the door shut for 90 minutes. How you will work once you start. E.g., I will not use the internet, I will produce at least 500 words per 20 minutes. How you will support the work. E.g., I will have a cup of black coffee and a specific playlist of instrumental music. These sound like trivial details, but they are triggers. When you put on the headphones and pour the coffee, your brain recognizes the pattern. Oh, it's time to focus now. The power of the grand gesture. Sometimes you need to do something radical to shake your brain out of its lethargy. Newport calls this the grand gesture. By investing significant resources, money, travel, or effort into a deep work session, you signal to your subconscious that this task is important. The classic example in the book is J.K. Rowling. While finishing Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, she found she couldn't focus at home. The dogs were barking, the window cleaner was arriving, the kids needed things. She was rich, but she was distracted. So, she went to the Balmoral Hotel in downtown Edinburgh, a luxury 5-star hotel. She rented a suite. It cost her a fortune. But the act of paying that money and physically moving to a sanctuary forced her to write. She finished the book there. You don't need to rent a 5-star hotel. Maybe you just drive to a library in the next town over. The inconvenience is the point. It raises the stakes. Execution, the 4 disciplines of execution, 4DX. Okay, you have a schedule, rhythmic, and a ritual, coffee plus library. Now, how do you actually ensure you produce results? Newport borrows a framework from business consultants McKesney, Covey, and Hewling called 4DX. It was designed for big corporations, but it applies perfectly to your personal deep work. Discipline number 1, focus on the wildly important. The more things you try to do, the less you actually accomplish. You must identify a wildly important goal, WIG. Don't say, I want to be a better researcher and answer all emails and organize the filing system. Say, I will publish 3 papers in top-tier journals this year. Deep work should be reserved only for your WIG. Everything else gets the scraps of your time. Discipline number 2, act on lead measures. This is a game changer. Most of us focus on lag measures. A lag measure is the result. The grade you got, the revenue you made, the number of books you sold. The problem is, by the time you see a lag measure, it's too late to change it. A lead measure is the behavior that leads to the result. For deep work, the only lead measure that matters is time spent in a state of deep focus dedicated to your WIG. You can't control if your book becomes a bestseller, lag. You can control how many hours of deep writing you do today, lead. Focus on the hours. The results will follow. Discipline number 3, keep a compelling scoreboard. People play differently when they are keeping score. Newport suggests a simple physical artifact. Get a calendar or a whiteboard. Every hour you spend in deep work, put a tally mark. It sounds childish, but it works. When you see a week with 0 tally marks, you feel a visceral sense of failure. When you see a week packed with marks, you feel like a winner. You need that visual feedback loop. Discipline number 4, create a cadence of accountability. If you are working alone, do a weekly review. Look at your scoreboard. Did you hit your targets? If not, why? Did a meeting run over? Did you get lazy? Adjust your schedule for next week. Without this review, you will drift. Entropy is the natural state of things. Structure requires maintenance. The downtime paradox. We are nearing the end of the methodology section, but there is one final counterintuitive rule that Newport insists upon. It terrifies workaholics. Rule: when you are done, be done. Newport argues that you should have a strict shutdown ritual at the end of the day. For him, it's around 5:30 p.m. Once he shuts down, he does no work. No checking emails on the phone, no just quickly planning for tomorrow, nothing. Why? Deep work requires rest. It burns massive amounts of energy. If you don't recharge, you can't go deep tomorrow. The subconscious needs time. Often, your brain solves complex problems while you are walking the dog or doing the dishes. If you keep jamming information in, you jam the gears. Work expands to fill the time. If you tell yourself you can work until 9 p.m., you will work slowly. If you know you must stop at 5:30 p.m., you work with intensity. He suggests a formal shutdown ritual. Look at your list, make a plan for tomorrow, check your calendar, and then say a specific phrase. Newport literally says, schedule shutdown complete. This is a psychological trigger that tells your brain, we are safe. We can stop worrying about work now. The chasm between knowing and doing. We have now built the structure. You understand the 4 scheduling philosophies, you have your rituals, you have your scoreboard, you have your shutdown time. But there is a demon lurking in the shadows. It's not your schedule, it's your brain's addiction to novelty. Even with a perfect schedule, when things get hard, your brain will scream for a distraction. In the next part, we are going to train that brain. We are going into the gymnasium of the mind. We will discuss embracing boredom
and why looking at your phone in line at the grocery store is destroying your career, how to quit social media without becoming a hermit, and how to drain the shallows. We are moving from scheduling to training. Prepare yourself. The digital detox is about to begin.
Part 3. The Mental Gymnasium. Rewiring a Distracted Brain. Welcome back to the dojo. In Part 1, we learned that deep work is the superpower of the 21st century. In Part 2, we built the fortress, the schedules, the rituals, and the physical spaces designed to protect your focus. But there is a flaw in our plan so far, a fatal flaw. You can build the most perfect, soundproof, distraction-free office in the world. You can schedule a 4-hour block of time. You can lock the door. But if the brain you bring into that room is addicted to dopamine, you will fail. You see, the ability to concentrate is not just a habit. It is a physical capability. It is a muscle. And right now, for most of us, that muscle is atrophied. It's weak. Meanwhile, the muscle for distraction seeking is like a bodybuilder on steroids. In this pivotal section, we are going to do the hard work. We are going to enter the mental gymnasium. We are going to look at the 3 most controversial and painful rules in Cal Newport's philosophy: embracing boredom, quitting social media, and draining the shallows. Prepare yourself. This is where we break your addiction. Rule number 2, embrace boredom, the withdrawal phase. Let me paint a picture of a typical moment in your life. You are at the grocery store. You are standing in line. The person in front of you is fumbling with their wallet. It's going to take maybe 60 seconds. What do? Be honest. You pull out your phone. You check a text, you scroll a feed, you look at the weather. It's a reflex. It happens before you even consciously decide to do it. You are terrified of that 60 seconds of silence. You are terrified of boredom. Newport argues that this behavior, this inability to tolerate even a moment of non-stimuli, is permanently rewiring your brain. You are teaching your brain a dangerous lesson. Every time I feel a moment of emptiness, I will immediately receive a digital reward. This creates a Pavlovian loop. When you sit down to do deep work, and the work gets hard, and it will get hard, your brain perceives that difficulty as emptiness or boredom. It screams for the reward. It screams for the phone. If you have spent your entire life giving in to that scream in the grocery line, you will not be able to resist it when you are trying to write a report or code software. The solution: wean yourself off the constant connection. Newport proposes a radical shift. Don't take breaks from distraction. Instead, take breaks from focus. Most people think, I will focus for an hour, then I will allow myself to check the internet. Newport says, no, you should schedule the times you are allowed to use the internet. Outside of those times, the internet is forbidden. This sounds subtle, but the difference is profound. Imagine you schedule your internet blocks for 8 a.m., 11 a.m., 2 p.m., and 5 p.m. It is now 11:30 a.m. You need to look up effect for your work. You cannot. You have to wait until 2 p.m. Why? Because you are training your brain to tolerate the tension of wanting to check, but not checking. You are holding the weight at the gym. That tension is where the mental muscle is built. The Roosevelt Dash. To accelerate this training, Newport suggests an exercise inspired by Teddy Roosevelt. Identify a task that usually takes you 2 hours of deep concentration. Now, set a timer for 1 hour. Commit to finishing it in 1 hour. This forces you into a state of hyper-intensity. You cannot afford to daydream. You cannot afford to get a cup of coffee. You have to lock in. It's like high-intensity interval training for your mind. It hurts, but it works. The art of productive meditation. Here is a technique you can use tomorrow. It turns dead time into deep time. We all have times when our body is busy, but our mind is free. Walking the dog, driving to work, washing dishes.
Usually, we listen to podcasts or music, which is fine. But to train for deep work, Newport suggests productive meditation. How to do it? Select a single, well-defined professional problem. For example, how do I structure the introduction of my presentation? Or, how do I solve this specific coding bug? Go for a walk or drive. Focus your mind only on that problem.
The challenge: your mind will wander. It will think about dinner. It will think about an argument you had. When you notice this, gently bring your attention back to the problem. Then your mind will loop. It will replay the same thought over and over to avoid the hard work of thinking forward. When you notice this, push the thought to the next step. I already established X, so what does that mean for Y? This is excruciatingly difficult at first. You might only get 3 minutes of real focus in a 30-minute walk. But if you do this consistently, you turn your commute into a laboratory, and you train your brain to hold complex structures in place without external aids. Rule number 3, quit social media, the craftsman's approach. Now we arrive at the part of the book that makes people angry. Cal Newport is famous for strictly avoiding social media. He has never had a Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram account. But wait, you cry, social media is useful. I found a great article on Twitter once. Facebook helps me remember birthdays. Newport nods. He agrees. Social media does have some benefit. But he introduces a concept that destroys the "it has some benefit" argument. He calls it the craftsman approach to tool selection. The any benefit mindset versus the craftsman. Most people use the any benefit mindset. If a tool offers any benefit at all, or if I might miss out on something by not using it, then I should use it. This is why we have 50 apps on our phones. Each one does something good. But look at a master craftsman, say a professional carpenter. If you offer him a cheap, flimsy multi-tool that also opens bottles and files fingernails, he will throw it in the trash. Does it have benefit? Yes, it opens bottles. But does it help him build a master quality table? No. In fact, it clutters his workbench, distracts him, and takes time away from his high-quality chisels. The craftsman approach says, I will only select a tool if its positive impact on my core mission substantially outweighs its negative impact. The math of attention. Let's do the math. Your core mission: to become a top-tier marketer, writer, programmer, leader. The tool: Twitter, X. Positive: you find occasional news, you feel connected. Negative: it fragments your attention into 140-character shards. It trains your brain to crave outrage. It steals 2 hours a day. It creates attention residue. The negatives don't just outweigh the positives, they obliterate them. A craftsman would never bring such a toxic tool into his workshop. The 30-day experiment. You don't have to delete everything today. Newport proposes a test. Pack up your digital life. Banish Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat from your phone and browser. Do not announce you are leaving. Don't make a dramatic "goodbye, cruel world" post. Just stop. Live for 30 days without them. After 30 days, ask yourself 2 questions. Would my last 30 days have been notably better if I had been able to use these services? Did anyone care that I wasn't using them? For 99% of people, the answer to both is no. The world kept turning. Your friends still texted you if they needed you. But you suddenly had 15 extra hours a week and a calmer mind. Rule number 4, drain the shallows, the schedule of steel. We have trained the brain. We have cut the digital fat. Now we must deal with the reality of the office. We cannot ignore every email. We cannot skip every meeting. This is what Newport calls shallow work. The goal is not to eliminate shallow work. That's impossible. But to contain it. We want to stop it from bleeding into every hour of the day. The strategy: schedule every minute of your day. This is the most actionable advice in the book for daily productivity. At the beginning of each day, open your notebook. Draw a vertical line representing your day, divide it into 30-minute blocks. Assign a task to every single block.
08 a.m., deep work, Project X. 09 a.m., email and admin, the shallow batch. 09:30 a.m., meeting. 11 a.m., deep work, Project Y. The objection: but my day is unpredictable. Emergencies happen. The rebuttal: the schedule is not a prison, it is a plan. When an emergency happens at 10 a.m., you handle it. Then at 10:30, you look at your notebook and rewrite the rest of the schedule. Newport calls this moving the blocks. You might rewrite your schedule 5 times a day. That's fine. The point is that at any given moment, you are acting with intention. You are never sitting there asking, "What should I do now?" Without a schedule, you default to the easiest thing, checking email. With a schedule, you are forced to confront the reality of time. You realize, I only have 30 minutes for email today. This forces you to be efficient. The sender filter. How do we reduce the influx of emails? By making it harder for people to email us. Newport suggests changing your mindset from being easy to reach to being effective. When you reply to an email, do not write "sounds good" or "let's meet up sometime." That just invites another email. It's a game of ping pong. Instead, use process-centric emailing. Write, "I'd love to meet. I am available Tuesday at 9 or Thursday at 2 p.m. If one of those works, please send a calendar invite. If not, let me know your constraints. We will meet at the Starbucks on Main Street. I will read your proposal beforehand." You have closed the loop. You have removed the need for 5 back-and-forth emails. You have done the work of thinking so the other person doesn't have to. And in return, you have saved your inbox from clutter. The fixed schedule productivity. Finally, Newport shares his own secret weapon. He works a strict 9 to 5. He rarely works evenings. He rarely works weekends. Yet, he is a tenured professor at Georgetown, writes best-selling books, and publishes academic papers constantly. How? He uses fixed schedule productivity. He fixes the end time, 5 o'clock. This is the immovable constraint. Now he works backward. To get everything done by 5 o'clock, he must be ruthlessly efficient. He must say no to low-value coffee chats. He must focus deeply. The constraint creates the quality. If you allow yourself to work until 10 p.m., you give yourself permission to slack off at 2 p.m. By cutting off the overflow time, you ignite a fire of urgency under your entire day. The turning point? We have traveled a long way. We understood the why, the economy of deep work. We learned the how, the scheduling philosophies. We learned the training, embracing boredom and quitting social media. You now have all the tools, but tools are useless without a philosophy of life to guide them. In the final part of our analysis, we are going to zoom out. We are going to look at the deep life. We will discuss why this isn't just about productivity, but about meaning. We will answer the lingering questions about burnout, collaboration, and how to actually start this journey tomorrow without crashing. The methodology is complete. The transformation is next.
The deep life, finding meaning in a distracted world. We have arrived at the final threshold. We have dissected the economy of the future. We have built the schedule of a high performer. We have rewired the neural pathways of your brain to resist the siren song of the smartphone. But if we stop here, we have only created a more efficient machine. We have created a robot that produces work faster. And while productivity is good, Cal Newport's deep work is ultimately arguing for something far more profound. It is not just about doing more. It is about living better. In this final chapter, we are going to transcend the hacks and tactics. We are going to explore the soul of the deep life. We will answer the lingering doubts about collaboration and burnout. And I will give you a concrete step-by-step roadmap to launch your new life tomorrow morning. The argument for meaning, the sacredness of focus. Let's step away from the office for a moment and visit a blacksmith shop. Newport opens the philosophical section of his book with the story of Rick Furrer, a blacksmith who specializes in recreating ancient Viking swords. He spends his days amidst fire, iron, and steam,
He hammers metal for hours, lost in a trance of rhythm and heat, to create a single, perfect blade. Rick says, "I do it because it is the hardest thing I can do, and when it is done, I can touch it." This is the essence of craftsmanship. In our modern knowledge economy, we have lost this connection. We send emails that disappear into the ether. We create PowerPoints that are forgotten in a week. We attend meetings that result in nothing. This lack of tangible creation creates a void in the human soul. We feel empty because our work feels weightless. Newport argues that deep work is the modern equivalent of the blacksmith's hammer. When you dive deep into a coding problem, a writing assignment, or a complex strategy, you are essentially forging information. You are taking raw, chaotic data and hammering it into a structure of truth and value. The neurological truth: focus is happiness. We often think that relaxation is the path to happiness. We think, if I could just sit on the beach and do nothing, I'd be happy. Science disagrees. Newport cites the psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, the father of flow, who conducted massive studies on human happiness. He found a startling paradox. People are often happier at work when challenged than they are at home when passive. The human mind, when left unstructured, tends to drift toward anxiety and chaos. It worries about the future, it regrets the past. But when the mind is focused on a hard, meaningful goal, there is no room for anxiety. The self disappears. Time disappears. Therefore, a life of deep work is not a life of sacrifice. It is a life of deep satisfaction. By removing the shallow noise, the petty dramas of social media, the endless email chains, you are not losing out. You are cleaning the lens through which you see the world. The collaboration trap, the hub and spoke model. One of the biggest pushbacks against deep work is, "But I need to collaborate. Innovation happens when people talk. If I lock myself in a room, won't I miss the spark?" This is a valid fear. The myth of the open office told us that if we tear down walls, magic will happen. Instead, we just got noise. Newport solves this with the hub and spoke model. Think of the legendary Bell Labs, where the laser, the transistor, and the solar cell were invented. It had long, quiet corridors where scientists had private offices, the spokes. They could close their doors and think for hours. But these corridors all connected to a massive shared cafeteria and common area, the hub. The scientists would do deep work in the spokes, then come to the hub to eat, argue, and sketch ideas on napkins. Deep work generates the raw insights. Collaboration refines and connects those insights. You cannot have one without the other. If you only collaborate, shallow, you have lots of meetings but no new ideas. If you only isolate, deep, you have ideas but no reality check. The lesson: do not aim for isolation, aim for oscillation. Oscillate between periods of intense, lonely focus and periods of open, messy collaboration. But never try to do both at the same time. A brainstorming session on Slack while trying to code is the death of innovation. The Startup Guide: How to Begin Tomorrow. We have covered a lot of theory. Now let's get tactical. You are inspired. You want to start. But if you try to do everything at once, you will crash. Here is your 7-day launch plan for the deep life. Day 1: the audit and the conversation. Task: track your time. For 1 day, write down exactly what you do every 30 minutes. Be honest. How much is doom scrolling? How much is email? The talk: tell your boss and your family. I am trying a new productivity method to get more done in less time. I'm going to be offline from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. each day to focus on Project X. I will answer all messages at 11:30 a.m. Note: most bosses will love this if you frame it as getting important work done. Day 2: the environment setup. Task: Create your bunker. It doesn't have to be a separate room. It can be a pair of noise-canceling headphones. The rule: when the headphones are on, the world is off. Clean your desk. Remove the phone from the room. Not in your pocket, out of the room. Day 3, the first deep session, the rhythmic start. Task: schedule 90 minutes of deep work. The method: pick your wildly important goal. Work on nothing else. The internet: turn it off. If you need to look something up, write it on a notepad and look it up after the session. Do not break the seal. Warning: it will be painful. Your brain will itch. Push through. Day 4, the shutdown ritual. Task: implement the hard stop. At 5:30 or your chosen time, close the laptop. The phrase: say, "shut down complete." The evening: do something physical or analog. Cook, run, read a paper book. Do not check email. Prove to yourself the world didn't end. Day 5, the social media fast. Task: remove the apps from your phone, just for the weekend. See how it feels. Notice how many times your hand automatically reaches for the ghost icon. Day 6 and 7, the review. Task: look at what you produced in those 90-minute blocks on days 3, 4, and 5. The realization: you likely accomplished more in those 4.5 hours, 3 days times 90 minutes, than you usually do in a whole week of distracted work.
Troubleshooting. My job is email. I'm a support agent/project manager. If your job is 100% responsive, you cannot do deep work during those hours. You are in a shallow role. Solution: you must carve out depth early in the morning or late at night if you want to advance your career or learn a new skill to leave that role. Or negotiate with your team. I take the morning shift for tickets, you take the afternoon. I keep failing. I check my phone. Forgive yourself. You are breaking an addiction. Solution: use technology to fight technology. Use apps like Freedom or Cold Turkey to block the internet at the hardware level. If you can't rely on willpower, rely on software. I feel lonely/disconnected. Good. That is the feeling of independent thought returning. The connection you felt before was an illusion of digital noise. Real connection happens when you share the work you produced during your solitude. The final verdict: the pragmatic optimist. As we close the book on deep work, we must address the future. We are heading into an age of artificial intelligence. Algorithms are already writing decent emails, writing basic code, and creating average art. The shallow human is about to be replaced. If your job consists of moving information from one spreadsheet to another or writing generic updates, you are in danger. The machine can do that faster, cheaper, and without complaining. But the machine cannot do deep work. It cannot replicate the flash of human insight that comes from wrestling with a paradox for 10 hours. It cannot replicate the empathy of a master storyteller. It cannot replicate the strategic vision of a true leader. Deep work is not just a productivity strategy. It is a survival strategy. It is the only way to remain future-proof. Conclusion: the choice is yours. Cal Newport leaves us with a stark image. Imagine a future divided into 2 classes. One class is the distracted mass. They are constantly connected, constantly stressed, consuming 10-second videos, their eyes glazed over, their brains unable to focus for more than a minute. They are the consumers of the algorithm. The other class is the focused few. They are calm, they are hard to reach, they produce the books, the theories, the technologies, and the art that the other group consumes. They own their attention. They own their lives. You have the choice. You can continue to swim in the shallows, chasing the shiny object, feeling busy but empty. Or you can take a breath. You can turn off the phone. You can dive. The water down here is cold, dark, and high pressure. It is scary at first, but it is also quiet, and it is where the treasure is buried. I'll leave you with a thought from the writer Winifred Gallagher. I'll live the focused life because it's the best kind there is. Now, go do the work.